First up, I have some good news and some bad news for you this week. The good news first. Did you watch our interview in January with RBI Executive Director G. Padmanabhan?
You would also know that there is a lot of work taking place. Government and Reserve Bank of India are looking at revamping the entire FDI guidelines to make it simpler. So today the problem that has cropped up is these are two different regimes, and these two, as a result of this, two separate pricing guidelines apply. So our idea is to make this all uniform as quickly as possible. The work is on. When that will be completed, I do not know, but it will be very quickly, I hope.
Well, if you did watch that, then you'd have known that this is coming. But so quickly, even we did not expect it, which is why it came as a more than pleasant surprise when the RBI this week said that it was going to withdraw all pricing restrictions on the entry and exit of foreign direct investment in India. The regulator says all such transactions involving the purchase or sale of Indian unlisted equity by non-residents will henceforth be based on acceptable market practices. We are keenly awaiting the operating guidelines on this one. And now let's get to the bad news. You could be the richest man in South Korea, but for the Ghaziabad court, you are just another accused. This week, the Supreme Court directed Samsung's global chairman, Lee Kun-hee, to appear before a Ghaziabad trial court within 6 weeks. Now, an Indian company has accused Samsung in India of not paying bills worth $1.4 million. And in that connection, Mr. He, who is the global chairman, is being called upon to explain what went on. Last we heard the Commerce Ministry is trying to firefight the situation, but it's not clear what they can do when up against the Ghaziabad court and the Supreme Court. And now on to our top story for the week. The US revenue takes about 32 months to complete an advance pricing agreement, and their regime is about 24 years old. In Canada, APAs have been around for 20 years, and it takes on average about 35 months to sign one. UK takes about 26 months to sign an APA. It's been 13 years of an APA regime in the UK. So this week, when the Indian APA team signed 5 APAs within just 12 months of the applications being filed, its efforts were lauded by all. But process length is one thing. The more important question is, how taxpayer-friendly has the department been in the first year of APA negotiations? And is the APA team empowered to finalize APAs on issues that are currently under litigation? Paismini Upadhyay puts that question to 2 experts who have been actively involved in the finalized APAs.
When the first baby will be delivered, whether that baby will be healthy or not, I can't answer that question clearly, but all I can assure you, that process has started and we are really working very hard.
That hard work paid off this week. Of the 146 applications that were filed with the department last year, Varshney and his team finalized 5 unilateral advance pricing agreements or APAs this week. In the second year, the response has been even better, with approximately 250 applications filed until March end. The APA team followed a 3-step process. Pre-filing stage, where the scope of the agreement was decided, followed by the on-site interview and negotiations.
This interview was conducted in with intention to find the facts and not with an intention to find faults. So our interaction at the level of interviewing by the APA team was very, very positive. After that was the the stage of negotiation. Again, I would say that they were open to the discussion. We have to appreciate that they are revenue authorities and they have to protect the interest of the revenue. But they were not like the transfer pricing officers or the assessing officers.
It was quite a fast tracking of the APA program which happened, because very few countries in the world have experienced APAs being signed in the first year of operation itself. So it's a great step on the part of the Indian revenue in trying to demonstrate before the world that yes, it has reached a level of maturity of trying to resolve APAs in a non-adversarial manner.
The first set of APA beneficiaries come from different industrial sectors, including pharmaceuticals, telecom, exploration and financial services. The international transactions for which APAs have been signed include non-binding investment advisory services, interest payments, corporate guarantees and contract manufacturing.
The companies which are basically providing support services for investment or other activities, those ITITS would not be the very good comparable. So there lies the difference in the approach of the transfer pricing officers and the APA team. The APA team appreciated that investment service providers are not ITITS service providers. So there, their approach was to find out the comparable which will fit the bill.
These were the areas which I would say have not been very controversial as such, because let's say when you talk about corporate guarantees, the tussle which the revenue and the Indian taxpayers have been really engulfed in is whether corporate guarantee was coming under the ambit of transfer pricing or not. But here, once you agree that on a particular set of facts that okay, you need to have an arm's length commission or a guarantee fee for corporate guarantees, then the issue comes down as to what the level of fee should be. And there, if you're willing to go the full distance to try and benchmark an arm's length guarantee commission with reference to the global best practices, like doing the credit rating of your foreign subsidiaries, trying to find out comparable loan agreements, trying to see as to what is the explicit and implicit part of the guarantee which you are providing, I think then it becomes a much easier solution.
So far, APAs have been signed for transactions where taxpayer and revenue positions are not so far apart. But the challenge will be in areas like management fee, royalties, and most importantly, marketing intangibles, or the amount spent on advertising, marketing and promotion by Indian subsidiaries of foreign brands.
Solving issues around marketing intangibles by resorting to correct characterization, tested parties, maybe resorting to profit split for royalties, etc. These are the right things to do when you talk about in transfer pricing, whether in a documentation, whether in a transfer pricing audit, litigation, or even in an APA. Now, the challenge with the Indian APA team would be facing, as compared to maybe what the APA programs of the other countries, is that India has a huge legacy of baggage of litigation, which maybe the other countries would not have been having. India faces almost 3,500 transfer pricing audits every year. 50% of them get adjusted. India has about 700 tribunal cases in the last 7 years. Now, no country in the world would be having this history. So, if you have to get things done, or if you have to correct several of the steps, I personally feel that the APA team would need to be sufficiently authorized or empowered to take the correct views, even if they would deviate from the CBDT stand taken in the early years.
CBDT's role will be crucial, especially since each APA application has been and will be vetted at 5 levels. The APA Commissioner, Director General, International Tax, the CBDT Chairman, Joint Secretary at the Ministry of Finance and Revenue Secretary. The other area of concern is bilateral APAs. Sources tell us there are 20 applications in the pipeline, predominantly from the UK, Japan and Switzerland. Concluding a bilateral APA, that would be the second challenge before the APA team that has perhaps raised industry's expectations with a great debut. In Mumbai, by Sunil Upadhyay.